Hey guys, this is Swati from Indiahikes and we're recording from our brand new studio in office. Well, we made the studio so that we can produce more content and make sure you as a trekker are updated with the trekking world. So if you'd like to stay notified with our latest videos, make sure you hit subscribe and the notify button next to it. So let's move on to what we're talking about today. In today's video, we're talking about sharp pain and numbness in toes that trekkers face after their trek. Around 55% of our trekkers complain about this kind of issues with their toes, and a lot of them panic because they think it's a frostbite or they think it's chilblains. But it's none of that. It is actually just pain in your toes or numbness, and it can go away. So in this video, I'll tell you why it happens, how to treat it, and also how to prevent it. Let's move on to that. Let's first talk about why numb toes or pain in your toes might occur after your trek. Well, there are a few reasons really. First thing, when you're descending, your feet tend to hit the inside of your shoes, and this repeated action of hitting causes damage in your sensory nerves in your toes. So this makes them lose sensation around that area, causing numbness in toes. Another reason could be that when you're trekking, your toes and your feet generally, they tend to swell up. Because of that over-exertion, they swell up and your shoes kind of constrict the movement of your feet. So that increases that compression on your foot and again causing more damage around that area. Another reason is that it is cold in the mountains, especially on a Himalayan trek. And when it is cold, the blood vessels in your toes usually get constricted. And when they kind of get constricted, there is pressure from your blood and then suddenly they burst open. So that sudden bursting open, which is a spasm, it causes heavy pain in your toes. It's a very sharp pain. You will definitely feel it and you'll know what it is. So that is also a reason you could have pain in your toes. So you'll see that there are a number of reasons, basically over-exertion of your toes in that temperature, in that weather. So this is completely normal. It's your toe that is crying out to you and saying, you know what, please help me, I'm struggling. So don't worry about it. It is not a frostbite or a chilblain. There are ways to treat it and you can also prevent it. When it comes to treating your toes, whether it is for numbness or for pain in your toes, you should know that it will take time because your sensory nerves have to heal, your blood vessels have to heal. All of this takes time. What you can do is you can catalyze the process of this treatment by doing one basic thing, which is using a hot and cold pack. Now, what happens is when you alternate hot and cold pack, that temperature variation that you get, that increases the blood circulation in your toes, which kind of aids the treatment. It makes it happen faster. So if you don't have a hot and cold pack, you can also dip your feet in a bucket of cold water first for 10 seconds and then a bucket of hot water for 10 seconds. When I say cold, I mean fridge cold. And when I say hot water, I mean hotter than lukewarm. So that temperature variation is required to increase the blood circulation there. That will aid the treatment of your toes. But what you can do is prevent this altogether. And there are quite a few ways that you can prevent both numb toes and sharp pain in your toes after your trek. And all of these precautions are either taken during your trek or before your trek. When it comes to preventing numbness in your toes, there are a few measures you can take. The first of them being getting shoes of the right size. So we always recommend to trekkers to buy one size bigger than their regular size when they're buying trekking shoes. This is so that your shoes have enough space to accommodate that movement inside your shoe when you're descending. And secondly, because your feet tend to swell up, these extra size shoes will be able to accommodate that swelling as well. So your feet are not that constricted inside your shoe. That really helps take off a lot of pressure from your shoes. The second thing you can do is learn how to descend properly. I've seen a lot of trekkers struggling to trek. They usually go very slow with a lot of pressure on their feet, on their knees. They also put their toes down first and then they heel. They don't use trekking poles. Now all of these increase the pressure on your feet and on your legs in general. So learn how to descend properly. I have a video showcasing the techniques of descending, so make sure you watch that after this video. The third thing you can do is use two trekking poles. Now, trekking poles are really lifesavers, especially when you're descending. And let me tell you, when you're descending is when all this damage to your toes happens. So make sure you use trekking poles. It's like having 4 legs. You can just trek like an animal. The other thing to do to prevent pain in your toes is to take care of it, keep it warm while on the trek and after the trek. You also, if you're in a campsite, avoid roaming around without wearing socks. At night, always wear woolen socks when you go to bed. So these are few things you can do to make sure your feet are warm during and even after your trek. Even after you come back to the base camp, don't roam around in your Hawaii chappals because it's less colder than in the mountains. Make sure you do take care of your feet after your trek. That's when they need the care most. So that's how you deal with numbness and sharp pain in your toes after your trek. I hope I've answered some of the questions that you might have had. They are not frostbites, not chilblains. They are exactly what they seem to be. They do take some time to go, but give them time, they will go. Even I had numb toes after my trek in Georgia, and it was there for around 2 months, and just now it is healing. So it will go away, don't worry. So that's how you deal with numb toes or pain in your toes after your trek. If you have had any such experiences, drop in a comment below because we'd love to learn from your experience. And if you have any questions about this, don't hesitate to write to me on tws@indiahikes.com. I'll get back to you. And if you'd like to be updated with more such videos where we're sharing trekking tips, where we're talking about the trekking world and bringing out trekking news, make sure you hit subscribe and the notify bell button next to it. We'll notify you of our next video. Also, make sure you go follow us on our social media accounts because we just hit 100,000 followers on Instagram. A big thanks to all of you for that. Trekkers are loving our page and you should go check out what it's all about. So that's all for today. I'm Swati from Indiahikes and you're watching Trek with Swati.